And welcome to Newsroom Live on this Monday after Thanksgiving, the first day of December. It is 7:02 in the East Coast. Welcome. Look at that beautiful Christmas tree. Fantastic. That's right outside the Fox News headquarters, the mothership, as we like to call it, over there on 6th Avenue. Getting you in the spirit, and you're going to need to get in the spirit because it's going to get cold, snow, and a wet and messy morning commute coming your way, no matter where you live in the tri-state. Good evening, everybody. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thank you so much for joining us for Newsroom Live. I'm reporting to you tonight from the Upper East Side of Manhattan in the Fox 5 newsroom, where everyone is back from vacation and on fire tonight. We have so much going on, so much news for a Monday. It's crazy. Brian is on keyboards. Jonah's bringing our guests in on Zoom and in person here. Wave to our friends here. And we're coming to you on the Fox Local app and the Fox 5 NY YouTube channel, where you can make comments, Jonah, and questions, and Jonah will read them. But be nice, you know, it's the season. Listen, we have a lot to get to. Linda Schmidt on casinos tonight. They just took a major win for casino owners. 2 in Queens, 1 in the Bronx, and Linda's going to have a live report explaining what happens next and how soon we could have more gaming opportunities in this area. And it is also, many of you will probably already know that, it's Cyber Monday. And Trey Baj is going to be joining us in just a few minutes. She's a retail expert. She's going to tell us where all the best deals are. You probably have until midnight. It's still Cyber Monday. You can still get some deals in. She'll tell us what to buy and where and what did well. And it seems like we're going to break records yet again for online shopping. And so we'll have the very latest on that. But first, the big story, the story everybody is talking about today in Lower Manhattan in a courthouse. Luigi Mangione, the man accused of gunning down in Midtown early in the morning, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. You see him in that photo smiling. He was not smiling when the video he's accused of gunning down that CEO, was played in the courtroom. He sat expressionless as that happened. We're going to break it down for you and explain why the defense is trying to get key pieces of evidence like the gun and what some are describing as a manifesto kicked out. This is a pre-trial hearing that we had today before the trial even begins. So all things Luigi Mangione, and I'm going to bring in Ken Belkin right now, litigator, trial lawyer extraordinaire here in New York City. Ken, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I so appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Sharon. I don't know about extraordinaire. I'm only 5'5", but I'll take it.
All right, sounds good. So talk to me about Luigi Mangione. But before we break down the case and what the defense is trying to have happen today, talk to me about his appearance. So I would say it's a major victory that he doesn't have to wear his prison uniform into the courtroom. How much of an impact will that have on potential jurors, considering he has a fan club, largely based sort of on the issue he's accused of, but also largely based on his appearance?
So there is this school of thought that you don't want your client to be seen in the orange Department of Corrections fatigues, that it is prejudicial to them, that people might see images of your client in these orange fatigues in the press and associate those orange fatigues with guilt because, they're already in jail. So there is this school of thought that you do want your client, or any defendant really, to be in their regular clothes, obviously in court-appropriate regular clothes, which we see he really took to heart. And he really came dressed the part of the astute defendant fighting for their life.
Yes, he's an Ivy League graduate. We expect that to be brought up as well. So let's talk about what the defense was trying to get done, or is trying to get done, and why. They say that he was the gun found in the knapsack was illegally obtained, as was the journal detailing allegedly what he wanted to do to Thompson or a healthcare exec. What happened today, and then we'll talk about whether or not you think it'll work.
So what happened today was the beginning of what's known as suppression hearings in a criminal matter, Within 45 days of anyone being arraigned, being formally charged, that your defense attorney in the state of New York has to file a motion asking for a series of hearings based on whether or not the evidence is admissible at trial. Certain things always come up time and time again. Statements, for instance, are always a big thing that you see defense attorneys and prosecutors argue about. You also hear a lot of arguing about physical evidence, which it made up a lot of the argument today in the hearings regarding the search of Mr. Mangione's backpack, whether or not it was reasonable for officers under the circumstances, without having obtained a search warrant first, for them to go into Mr. Mangione's backpack. And this is important because if that search is deemed unconstitutional, then the fruits of that search are thrown out. And in this case, that would mean the 9mm handgun that was recovered from the backpack, which coincidentally matches the weapon used in the murder of Brian Thompson. And if we're to believe the prosecution, a notebook detailing kind of a manifesto against the private healthcare system, which could be very powerful evidence of a motive.
Now, lay people might be saying, listen, this was a several days manhunt at the time. There was fear throughout the country that a madman would gun someone down in the streets of Manhattan, was on the run. And when someone made that call that they saw him in an Altoona McDonald's, they recognized his bushy eyebrows. Keep in mind, he was wearing a mask, times of COVID. When they spotted him and the police approaching him gingerly there in Altoona, not the detectives who are on the case in Midtown. Are there any circumstances where it would be okay to, they consider it a threat? That's why they wanted to search his knapsack before they read him his Miranda rights or got a search warrant, excuse me?
And this is why there's always an exception, because, right, there are those circumstances, for instance, when you're looking for a man on a multi-state violent felony manhunt, being the case murder, where you might say, hey, this is what's called an exigent circumstance, and we might need to search him because he might present a clear and present danger to the public and also the officers that have come upon him in their day-to-day. And let's be clear, when the officers came upon him, he did lie to them. He identified himself as one Mark Rosario, according to one of the officers, which coincidentally happens to be the name that the prosecution contends Mr. Mangione had checked into a New York City hostel under.
Yeah, very interesting. And maybe up to 7 hours before he was read his Miranda rights, I believe, is what we were hearing in testimony today. How significant is that? And could that mean that this is in jeopardy in terms of both the weapon and the journal that prosecutors allege is a manifesto detailing why and how he wanted to kill Brian Thompson?
I think the contents of the book bag are coming in. You hear, according to reports I've read, the police officer, before he searches the book bag, make reference to whether or not there is a bomb in there. There is a clear exigent circumstance. This man may be the person of interest / suspect in a multi-state murder manhunt. So he could be a very clear and present danger to the public that would warrant the intrusion into his backpack at that stage. Now, the 7 hours not Mirandizing him, that's going to be a problem for statements said later on in the game when he's in custody. From what I've read, he made some statements to corrections officers. One corrections officer testified today that Mangione told him in his backpack he had a bunch of foreign currency and a 3D printed handgun. The defense attorneys went crazy at that point, from what I've read. But, I think statements made later on might be a problem, but initial statements such as identifying himself under the name Mark Rosario, I think they're coming in.
And what can we expect looking forward to happen next? How long could this take before they're actually seated a jury?
The hearings will have to conclude. I'm not sure how many more witnesses they have to go. That could be a few more days, the rest of the week. As for a trial, there might be other legal issues that the defense makes motions on that come up in light of the hearings. So there could be delays. I'd say a good rule of thumb on a state case in Manhattan for murder, about a year to a year and a half to trial.
So I was asking you to predict for me. I don't know if you can. What do you think? Do you think that the defense has a case that they could get this weapon, taken out, which to me seems like a pivotal piece of evidence here, especially if it's the weapon linked to the murder.
Yeah, I think the contents of the backpack search, they're coming into evidence. I think statements made toward the latter end of that 7-hour period he wasn't Mirandized, they might be in jeopardy of being suppressed. I think there's a certain voluntariness to a lot of the statements he initially made to police when they came upon him.
And by that, you mean, what if he started talking to the cops first before they started talking to him? Is that?
Yeah, look, to be clear, anytime law enforcement comes upon you, you can immediately invoke your right to counsel. You can immediately invoke your right to remain silent. He didn't do that. He chose to speak voluntarily to police officers in a McDonald's. He wasn't in custody at that point. He wasn't, under arrest in the backseat of a car. He didn't have his hands cuffed behind his back. He was in what we would call pre-custody phase.
So those are the comments obviously prosecutors want to keep and the defense is trying to get thrown out?
Yeah, among other statements, there are statements that he had a whole, colloquy with a corrections officer about the difference between privatized healthcare and a nationalized system that I think the prosecution wants to use, probably for motive. But that it's questionable whether or not that will come in. But I think the statements made immediately upon the police coming upon Mr. Mangione, I think they're fertile ground for the prosecution.
And any predictions on whether or not the weapon will be, the defense will win on that front?
I believe in the final analysis, the exigent circumstance of the multi-state manhunt for a suspect in a murder case will win out, and they will find that the police officers were reasonable in searching that bag, and the contents of that bag will come into evidence.
Ken Belkin, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, and we hope you'll join us again as we continue to watch this trial, pre-trial now, but it will be a trial soon, unfold before us. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sharon. Have a good evening.
All right, keep it right here. As I said, I know it's Monday, but we got a lot going on here. Casinos, a big win for casino operators. Two possibly coming to Queens. Another in the Bronx. Why? Linda Schmidt's going to explain why at the bottom of the hour, so don't go anywhere. But up next, you've probably been online today because we're going to talk all things Cyber Monday with Trey Bosch. She's joining us in just 2 minutes. Keep it right here. Loving the music. Brian on keyboards over there. Jonah bringing our guests in on Zoom. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. I'm Sharon Crowley reporting to you from the Upper East Side of Manhattan from the Fox 5 newsroom, where our journalists are very busy getting ready for the 10 o'clock news on Fox 5 tonight. A million stories to tell you all about. But first, you probably know this if you're online now. Probably at some point today, maybe while you were at work, you did a little online shopping because it is, of course, Cyber Monday. Joining us live now is Trey Baj, smart shopping expert. Trey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
So Trey, okay, I'm going to guess, I haven't looked at the numbers, but we're going to get some record-breaking online sales numbers today.
That is absolutely the prediction. The National Retail Federation is expecting a banner holiday shopping season where we might hit $1 trillion in spending for the very first time. And we already had some really exciting online shopping numbers on Friday where we were up 9% for online shopping. Now, Cyber Monday tends to be the biggest online shopping day of the year. And based on the spending and shopping that I've been seeing so far during this season, I think we're heading in that direction.
Wow, amazing, right? With all the talk about there's fears in the economy, interest rates, I guess people are just drowning their sorrows in shopping, right? To make themselves feel better. I don't know. So Trey, talk to me. What were the best deals today? And is there still time to get those deals since it's not midnight yet?
Yeah, there are definitely lots of deals out there still. If I were shopping, I just did a little bit of a little shopping spree during a break. The categories that are the most deeply discounted today are anything in the tech category, and then also small and large home appliances, fall apparel and footwear, and beauty. And so I would focus there because then other categories will kind of open up as we head into December. There are a couple deals that I'm eyeing. If you need, for example, a new phone, Mint Mobile has amazing discounts on phones. You can save up to $650 off a Samsung S25 if you bundle that with their 5G service at $15 a month, which I've personally tested and think it's an amazing service, not just budget friendly, but also very good. So that's Mint Mobile. And then HP has amazing laptop deals. They have an OmniBook that's a touchscreen, about 60+% off. There's a Bissell rug cleaner, which I'm geeking out a little bit on the, on the domestic
Everybody
side.
likes a good vacuum, right?
I know. Well, there's that one. It's 31% off. And then there's a Dyson V8 on Amazon. Those are both on Amazon, 40+% off.
Now I might have to
Dyson's
leave and go
very
online right now. Hold on.
Yeah, so
anything,
pretty exciting.
Yeah, I can never afford the Dyson stuff, but it's so good, it seems like.
I know. Maybe today you could.
Maybe today. Maybe today. So yeah, what do you think if you're shopping? Are a lot of people doing Christmas and Hanukkah presents today? Are they trying to get that, or are these just purchases for themselves? What are you seeing here?
This is a great question. So Lightspeed Commerce, which is a payments platform for retailers, conducted a poll around this. And they found that while half of us are shopping around this time in these big sale holidays, half of us are going to be dividing our purchases between gifts, of course, but then also essentials. And so what that means to me is that we are battling some high prices here. This is because of the tariffs that we've been seeing throughout the year. And many categories are priced quite high. And so we're waiting for a big sale moment like Black Friday or Cyber Monday to buy our favorite essentials that we need for our homes and families. And that concerns me a little bit. That really means that we're facing some pricing headwinds.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk even just a few months ago that anything from China would be crazy. We wouldn't be able to get any of our Christmas ornaments and everything else that's made in China that we hang on our trees. That would be a big fear. But so far, we haven't seen that come to pass completely. What are you thinking? We're going to see a boom today and then it's going to drop off because everyone's complaining about the high cost of everything.
Yeah, and we are seeing higher prices on holiday ornaments, and there's been a lot of stories out there about fake Christmas trees this year. The prices are quite high because most of those items come in from China. Toys are another problematic category where we're seeing higher prices. So we're going to see a lot of activity throughout today, and then we will see a pretty steep drop off. We have coming up free shipping day, which is the 14th of December. That's another big kind of sales spike where retailers will guarantee on-time delivery if you place an order by that day. And we often see sales around that time. And then we'll see another spike around Super Saturday, which is December 20th. And that should really be an in-store day. You don't want to take any chances with shipping delays, but we'll see a lot of sales around that day as well.
Awesome. And Trey, what's the most popular gift this year that everybody's scrambling for, or is there more than one?
Well, it's funny. I was in Toys R Us shooting a segment the other day, and we were talking to the manager there, and she was saying that the Pokemon cards are the hottest gift in that store. And then she was also
Brian
saying
is shaking his head, yes.
Yeah. Okay, Brian. So, we're getting into the Pokemon cards, collectibles, anything rare like Labubus, blind boxes, anything like that. And then anything connected to a hot movie like Wicked for Good. There'll be lots of fun swag connected to that movie and Marvel, anything superhero. Those are always really strong on the toy front.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any other tips as we get closer? It feels like very short, Thanksgiving was late in the month, and before you know it, we have like 3.5 weeks, maybe it is, something like that, until it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Any tips as we try to get our Christmas and Hanukkah and holiday shopping complete?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things, and this one's so obvious, but so few people do it, to make an actual list. I do it in my notes app on my phone, recipients, gift ideas for each, a budget for each. Add yourself to that list also, because a lot of us fall into this like one for them, one for me pattern because we're shopping so much more than usual. And then we get into trouble and bring debt into the new year. So that's one. And then my second tip would be don't ever take a price at face value. Even if you find a great deal on Cyber Monday today, look around, look at your favorite deal sites, see if there's a coupon, a free shipping offer, some cash back, and then pay with that credit card in your wallet that gives you some points or miles. So try to really make these deals go as far as you can.
Awesome. And you mentioned one word that I'm just going to remind everybody watching that they don't want to hear, but creating a budget and sticking to it.
Yeah. I know it's no fun, it's not sexy, but it's really important.
Awesome. Well, happy holidays to you, Trey, and we will be checking back with you in the next few weeks to see how the shopping is going. And I'm looking at the clock now. You still have a few hours left of Cyber Monday.
Great to be with you.
Thanks, Trey. All right, don't go anywhere. I promise we have much more coming up. We're going to have a live report from Queens on why casino owners are winning big, getting very close to getting those licenses and adding to the gaming in our area. Linda Schmidt has that story coming up and much more. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Keep it here. Back to Newsroom Live. You see all those screens I'm watching here. We want to bring you into the process. We are watching developments from Washington, D.C., where President Trump had a meeting this evening with his national security advisors. Teresa Priolo going to have a live report coming up in the next hour about that to fill us all in on everything in the Oval Office. Thanks again for joining us. But right now we want to tell you a little bit about some local news, which is, something a lot of people have been waiting for. It's also a little bit controversial. We'll talk to you about that in a minute. A New York gaming board is recommending licenses for all 3 casino bids here in the New York City area, 2 in Queens and 1 in the Bronx. Our Linda Schmidt is live on this chilling night in Queens to break it all down for us. Hi, Linda. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Sharon. I'm doing well. It's really not that bad out tonight. The wind
good.
has died down out here, so it's significantly warmer than what it was before. But yeah, the reason that we're at this location here right now in Queens, we got Citi Field over my shoulder. This is where the New York Mets that they play. The owner of the New York Mets, Steve Cohen, he's one of the people who has proposed one of the casino deals. Now, I hope you're not at the video yet and that you're watching me live.
I am watching
because
you, Linda.
This
100%.
is a huge parking lot. All right, this is a huge parking lot here right next to Citi Field. It's owned by Citi Field. And the proposal would build this massive, sprawling casino complex on the other side of this parking lot. And what it would do is it would actually transform about 50 acres of parking lot space to create this, like I said, this massive casino project. Now, we do have video of it. I want you to go ahead and take a look at the renderings, because the renderings for all 3, the renderings always look gorgeous, but all 3 of these proposals
there they are, Linda.
will include a casino, hotel, bars, restaurants, concert halls, venues where people can go and see concerts. Here for this one at Citi Field, Steve Cohen's group, he is partnering with the Hard Rock International company, and they say that this is going to bring in more than $1 billion a year in tax revenue, and it's going to create more than 6,000 permanent jobs. So not just the people that are building this project, but also permanent jobs. And then, Sharon, there's another one in Queens as well.
Yep.
This is Resorts World. Now, they already have a casino there. What they want to do is they want to expand their current facility. They are saying their project would create about 5,000 permanent jobs and more than $1 billion a year in tax revenue. And then if we hop on over to the Bronx, you can see that one. This one is an interesting piece of property. It's owned by Bally's right now. And Bally's is saying that it would create 4,000 permanent jobs and create about $400 million a year in tax revenue. Now, this location, actually, I've been to this property many times. It's a golf course that's there, and it's right under the Whitestone Bridge. It's at Ferry Point in the Bronx. And President Trump's organization used to own this property, but they ended up selling the property to Bally's. And Bally's had promised in part of their deal that if they ended up with the casino bid, that they would end up paying the Trump organization $115 million. Now, even though the board, and there was a board that, passed, it's called the New York Gaming Facility Location Board. They are the ones that decided to approve all 3 of these bids, but the final say is not up to them. But I have to tell you, Sharon, a lot of people really are not happy about this. There have been protesters. They were chanting, "Shame on you." Yeah. They were chanting, "Shame on you, shame on you," inside when they were casting those votes earlier today, and they were demonstrating outside as well. And I think you guys have sound right now that we can toss to from one of the protesters, as well as the chair of this board that approved these 3 casino bids. Let's go ahead and roll those sound bites right now.
Sounds good.
So the next step is that these applicants have to apply to the Gaming Commission. The Gaming Commission has a wide-ranging set of criteria that they use: character and fitness, all kinds of things, ability to deliver. And it is not a rubber stamp.
Fundamentally, these casinos are an extraction of wealth from the working and middle class into the hands of a billionaire who is already worth $20 billion.
So by the end of this month, the State Gaming Commission will decide whether or not to approve each one of these casino bids or reject them. They could pass 1 and reject 2, or they could end up approving all 3, and we will know that decision by the end of the month.
Linda, I heard that though that this gaming board really, if they're recommending it, it's practically a green light. It seems very good, very
Right.
promising is probably more accurate to say for these three spots.
Right, because it is their recommendation, and they are the ones who advise the State Gaming Commission. So more than likely, they will end up approving. We can't say that with 100% certainty, but yes, more than likely, all three of them are going to go through. And no matter who you talk to within each one of these organizations proposing these casino projects, they all say it's going to create thousands of permanent jobs, not just temporary ones with people, the construction crews who will be building these facilities, but long-term jobs. But then you have people on the opposing side who say that the only people who really end up making money on these casino proposals are the people who own the casinos. They're the ones who make the lion's share of the money. And yes, they do employ people, and most of them are making minimum wage or just above minimum wage. But you never see the businesses that are surrounding these locations. They're never like right across the street where you've got mom and pop shops right across the street where they could end up making money on the number of people that are coming to the casinos.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
And Lindy,
like even out here.
Yeah. And
Go
you
ahead.
and I have covered, let's talk Atlantic City, I mean, same promises made there, thousands of jobs, and then one casino close after another. And then you also have to factor in that you can gamble from your living room couch, I mean, that's a factor now that wasn't always the case, that so much of this is legalized gambling can happen, in sports betting and all the rest of it. So, but these are areas that already have a lot of commercial stuff, and in one case they're expanding the casino. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and the other part of this too, Sharon, is it brings in the MTA, because each one of these three bids, if they are given the green light, they have to pay, each one would have to pay $500 million up front to the state. And then all of that money goes to the MTA. All of it.
Yeah.
So if all three of them, that's $1.5 billion automatically goes to the MTA.
It explains why Governor Hochul is applauding this maneuver from the gaming board today, and certainly hoping this happens. Linda Schmidt, live for us tonight in Queens. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We look forward to your report tonight on the 10 o'clock news on Fox 5.
Thanks so much, Sharon. See you later.
All right. I'll see you soon. That's great. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We have a jam-packed show. I know I keep saying it. You hear when the music comes up? That's Brian on keyboards. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. It is 7:37. You're looking at a live picture to get you in the holiday spirit here on 6th Avenue, not too far from Radio City. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thank you for joining us. We have so much to get to tonight. It's going to be a wet and messy commute for you tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Nick Gregory will be joining me in just a few minutes to let you know what you can expect. Apparently, it doesn't matter where you live. You're going to feel it tomorrow. The first snowfall of the season, maybe. He'll correct me if I'm wrong on that. There'll be a dusting of snow in some parts, and some parts just a slick, rainy mess. So we're going to hear all about it from Nick coming up. But first, back to our local news. But before we get to our local news, I know, sorry, I'm all over the place. Let's take a live look at the White House tonight. I bring this up because there is a lot going on there, and Teresa Priola is covering it for us. We're going to have a live report from her coming up. President Trump in the Oval Office tonight meeting with his national security advisors about a lot, not only negotiations to end the war between Russia and Ukraine, but also some trouble in the seas off Venezuela, those strikes that took out alleged drug boats. Now the Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense, whatever you want to call it, Pete Hegseth, under fire, under scrutiny by people who say that he overstepped and possibly committed a war crime by ordering the dropping of a second bomb on one of these alleged drug boats when there were survivors. That's not protocol. So Teresa's going to break it all down for us, and we're going to hear from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. But here at home, also getting some attention, there was a protest in Park Slope. Starbucks workers are on strike. They're calling it the Red Cup Strike. And they got some famous friends to help them, Senator Bernie Sanders and Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani joining the fight today. Let's hear what they had to say, showing their support for workers.
Good to go? Thank you. Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here at a picket with Starbucks workers like the ones on my right and the ones on my left. Workers who are braving the December cold and the much deeper chill of unfair labor practices in this city and across this country, and the fear that has come with that of union busting while they demand the better working conditions that they deserve. Like so many working people across this city, these are not demands of greed. These are demands for decency. These are workers who are simply being asked to be treated with the respect that they deserve. They're being asked that their labor be repaid in a manner that allows them to build a dignified life. And I joined them because I want to do everything that I can to show my solidarity, but also because I know that far too often the voices of everyday working people are not amplified with the volume that management so easily receives. So I want to share a few numbers with you here this afternoon, numbers that I hope will place this struggle into some sense of perspective. 36.2 billion. That is the amount of money that Starbucks made in revenue just last year. 95.8 million. That's the compensation package that Starbucks CEO Brian Niccol earned for 4 months of work last year. 6,666. That is how much times larger Niccol's pay was than the average Starbucks barista's salary. 400. That is how many labor law violations the NLRB has found that Starbucks has committed. 120. That's the amount of stores that are on strike, and 85, the number of cities that they are taking place in. Now, what these numbers show us are a two-pronged picture. On one side, corporate greed and self-enrichment at the cost of its own workers, and on the other, remarkable solidarity by those workers who have been exploited and mistreated time and time again. Solidarity, as much as we speak of it, we have to remember,
All right,
is not
you
an
are
abstract
just listening
concept.
to Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, who joined striking Starbucks workers in Park Slope, along with Senator Bernie Sanders today, lending their powerful, well-known names and faces to that cause. He's just quoting the profits of Starbucks. Of course, Starbucks, we did get a statement, and he says that Starbucks statement says that less than 1% of our coffee houses are experiencing any level of disruption from Workers United. That's the group that's out there striking, and they did settle a recent lawsuit, but they say they do treat their workers fair. So that's their side of it. Our Morgan Mackay was out there today, and she'll have an update for us tonight at 10 o'clock on the Fox 5 News. All right, as promised, I'm going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Nick Gregory is here with your full forecast to tell us what we can expect when we wake up tomorrow. See you soon. I promised. Here's Nick Gregory, Chief Meteorologist Nick Gregory here to give us the very latest. You hear the music coming in, but don't worry. Soon we're going to have some holiday music for our bumps in and out because we want to get people in the spirit. You know, we only have 3.5 weeks left.
There you go.
That's it.
And then you can sometimes maybe play some drama music when we have like a snow.
Oh, we need weather music. That's right.
See, that's my segue for tonight. Right?
Okay. All right, Nick. So talk to me. What's happening?
So we do have a storm coming up from the south and west, and it is going to bring some snow to the area, even in the city, but it's not going to last long in the city because it's going to eventually quickly probably mix over into rain and then eventually become all rain. It's the northern suburbs that will do a little bit better with this, particularly the farther northern suburbs I'm talking up in the Catskills region. And you can see again here as we're going to take a look at our forecast in a minute here. That's our futurecast that shows by Wednesday we're in the clear with sunshine, kind of a windy day and kind of a chilly day too. But overnight, we're heading down to the low 20s north and west. The snow will arrive pre-dawn and about 33 in the city, 30 on the island. And then tomorrow, the temperatures are going to rise to the lower 40s in the city along the coast. So that's going to change the snow over to rain pretty quickly, city and coast, with no accumulation expected there. But you're going to see temperatures north will stay close to the freezing mark, like Sullivan County there, Monticello, look at Poughkeepsie at 35. So those areas are going to see an accumulating snow. So that could cause a messy commute in the morning and may interrupt some school happenings tomorrow, so that's something to keep in mind. Again,
and
first
driving is always a little scary sometimes.
Yes, but it's a city of the coast, it just becomes rain. It's just a cold rain most of the day. So here's what I'm thinking again. No real accumulation for the city, Long Island, down along the Jersey shore in central New Jersey. A coating just to the north and west. It's northwest New Jersey. There's Sussex County, Orange County, northern Rockland County, Putnam County, Dutchess County, up into Litchfield County, Connecticut, 1 to 3. Then you go north, Sullivan County, up into Greene County, that's the Catskills region of New York. They'll get 3 to 5 inches. So that's tomorrow. And then the 7-day shows are just kind of chilly. It's windy a bit at times, particularly Wednesday morning. Sunny, 40, only 40 on Thursday. Look at Friday, 20 in the morning, 33 only in the afternoon. Then it's dry through the weekend for now. Storm stays to our south Saturday, but we have to watch it. Low 40s, and it's cold again on Monday, 32. So, winter's coming on strong. By the way, today is the meteorological day, first day of winter.
Oh, okay.
It starts on December 1st, and then December 21st, around there, is the astronomical first day of winter. There's a difference.
Okay, what is the difference?
So, well, I mean, we really officially start meteorologically talking about winter now.
Okay.
And it's the astronomical winter is when the sun has reached its lowest point in its travel across the equator.
So the shortest day of the year?
Correct.
Okay.
So the sun will be right over 23.5 degrees south latitude, below the equator, which is why it's low in the sky. So that is the astronomical start of winter. That's the difference.
Not to be
that makes sense?
confused with your astrologer that you're going to quick log off and log on to. Nick, is it the first snowfall of the season?
Yes, for many of the area, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. And that's why we have winter weather advisories, northwest New Jersey, that all goes to about western Passaic County, Morris County, Hunterdon, Warren counties, and it goes up to Orange County, Rockland County, Dutchess County, up through the Hudson Valley. And then just north of that are winter storm warnings because of the higher snowfall that we just talked about. So the snow's not near us right now, Sharon. It's just cloudy or becoming, the clouds are sort of...
When's all this going to start get fired up?
Pre-dawn hours, right? So figure, again, 4 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning.
So I'll be asleep.
Yeah, hopefully me too, although I get a little excited when it starts to
You get
snow.
excited?
I do, like I was a kid.
I love it.
And you can see the snow now is across the Ohio Valley, but it's steadily making progress.
Yep.
So that'll be arriving here again, the pre-dawn hours tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to it. And Nick, are you going to have an update for us on the 10 o'clock news tonight?
Of course.
All right,
and
you
I'll have
might
some new computer data by then, so we'll see if the forecast
Well,
changes.
if you'd like, and we're going to invite Nick back, if you'd like to join us between 8 and 9 o'clock, we'd love to have you too.
Well,
another reminder.
If you insist, I will.
If you insist. But Nick does need to get it. He needs to have dinner. He needs to
I'll have that a little bit
recenter.
later, correct.
Yeah, but I appreciate it.
Sure.
So we will hopefully see you in the next hour and look forward if you get any new computer models.
Yeah, I won't say anything new now, but I will by 10 o'clock.
All right, just don't give me a quiz on the latitude and that.
Quiz.
Yeah,
Sounds like a pretty good idea.
I have
actually,
family members that say I'm terrible with spatial relations, which I disagree with. And now that we have Google Maps, who needs that?
Who needs that?
Who needs that anyway? All right.
Okay.
All right, Nick. I'll see you soon.
See you later.
Thank you very much. All right, keep it right here. We'll be back in 2 minutes with much more ahead, and we're going to look inside the White House and see how their Christmas decorations are looking this year. All right, welcome back to Newsroom Live. That's a live picture you're looking at right now, the White House. A lot of important meetings happening right now. President Trump meeting with his national security team on a host of issues, which we'll break down for you with Teresa Priolo in our 8 o'clock hour. So keep it right here. And we're also going to show you the First Lady and how she decorated the inside of the White House with all of those trees and decorations and all the volunteers that come in from all over the country. So hold on for that. But first, we're bringing you local again, of course. Tomorrow, there is a runoff election for Jersey City mayor. And Teresa Priolo introduced us to both of the candidates. Take a look.
This is our lives. This is our homes. This is our families.
It's the comeback candidate versus the city councilman.
My thing is, why am I looking at working people to pay first? I should be looking at the big developers and corporations to pay first.
Two distinct visions for New Jersey's second most populous city. Two different approaches for what's realistic to carry Jersey City into the future.
That's the message to folks who are thinking about Jersey City. You get to live in the most diverse city in the country, a place that's really livable, and a place that's really down to earth.
I think we have to have optimism, but we have to have practicality. We have to be able to say, yes, we can have safe and clean streets. Yes, we can take e-bikes off. Yes, we can increase community policing.
Former Governor Jim McGreevey, who was once the mayor of Woodbridge, is running against Councilman James Solomon for Jersey City mayor in a special election. McGreevey and Solomon were the top two vote getters on November 4th, but neither received more than 50%, forcing this runoff. McGreevey has had a long political career, but he's been out of public office since a sex scandal forced him to resign from the governor's office in disgrace in 2004. Councilmember Solomon is relatively new to public life, first elected to city council 8 years ago. He's a dad of 3 and a cancer survivor. And while their backgrounds and views are wildly different, they both believe affordability is the #1 issue facing voters.
If everything was perfect, if everything was affordable, I'd say elect Solomon. But the point is, it's out of whack. The streets are dirty. I mean, the schools are underfunded. I mean, the affordability crisis is real. Our senior citizens, their property taxes are up to here.
I talked to so many people, and they just say the next rent increase, the next property tax increase is going to force me out of the city that I love. And for me, I'm like, gosh, if we don't have a mayor that is really making progress on affordability, the city is really going to change, and not for the better.
McGreevey is focused on finances. He wants zero-based budgeting and more affordable housing, especially for seniors, in partnership with faith-based institutions. He wants a Vision Zero type plan, community policing, and to spend money on Jersey City's outdated water and sewer systems. Solomon says he's the only candidate to never take a dime from developers. On policing, he wants to create a civilian complaint review board. On housing, he wants to allocate 20% of new construction for affordable housing, and he wants to drive down rents on low-income residents to under $1,000. Unsurprisingly, neither candidate thinks the other can get any of this done.
I like James, but the point is, it's broken. It's broken. You can't have the highest property taxes in the state. You can't have the highest rent increases in the nation. You can't have $150 million in a structural deficit and tell me everything's okay. It's not.
Rent has gone up 50% in 5 years. Property taxes have gone up 50% in 5 years, and it's really forcing a lot of people out of Jersey City. And so from day one, we said we're going to get tough on developers, make them build more affordable housing, some of it genuinely affordable. It rents $1,000 a month. That we're going to go after the corruption that has led to these property tax increases, and just being focused on making sure people can afford to stay here.
Jersey City's special runoff election is December the 2nd. There's no early voting period, but if you want to vote by mail, you can, as long as you get your application in by November the 25th. In Jersey City, Teresa Priolo, Fox 5 News.
And we can look forward to Teresa being at the covering that for us tomorrow night from New Jersey. James Solomon and Jim McGreevey in a runoff election for Jersey City's mayor. A lot going on tomorrow night, and it's not a quiet December. I mean, so much happening. So we will have that fully covered for you as well. But now I'm going to take you back, as I promised, to the White House. Brian, let's take a live look. There's the Capitol. No decorations there. Let's go another live look at the White House. The First Lady carrying on the tradition of all First Ladies. And take a look. The White House is ready for the holiday season. First Lady Melania Trump chose this year's theme, Home is Where the Heart Is, America, Our Home. It's a nod to the upcoming America's 250th birthday celebration. Looks pretty good, right? Some of the decor features America's national symbols, especially. There's some eagle toppers and beautiful blue lighting there. And Be Best, of course, is the First Lady's initiative to reduce social media bullying online, especially. Gorgeous, beautiful. I remember one year all the trees were red. I don't know if she got criticism for that or not, but this year she's chosen to go way more traditional, which I think is good. Brian, I want to see it again. Let me see it again. Let's see the VO again. It looks pretty good. So while you look at that one more time of the White House Christmas trees, there you go. I mean, not many people are going to get to go inside. We may as well give them a good look. See, the eagles are on the top of the Christmas tree. And again, celebrating 250 years this summer. Huge celebrations planned. It should be really cool. But anyway, I appreciate you sticking it out this hour. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to tell you all about that Oval Office meeting with President Trump and his national security team. And we're also going to tell you more about why casino operators are winning big after the board met. Pretty good. And Nick Gregory is going to join me again. You know, I twisted his arm a little bit to tell us all about your morning commute and the snow. And you still have a few more hours. That's right. It's Cyber Monday. And let's see, you have 4 more hours to do all your shopping. But don't do it yet. Stay here with Brian and Jonah and I and our guests in the wings coming right up. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and we're going to be talking Luigi Mangione's trial and what's next. All right, if you're getting sick of the bump music, don't worry. We're going to have holiday music for you tomorrow. Hello and welcome back to Newsroom Live. I'm going to wave over here. This is Brian on keyboards and Jonah welcoming in our guests. And Randy Zellen is an attorney on deck for us. We're going to talk all things Luigi Mangione. But first, you should know, we're going to take one more look outside, Brian. Tomorrow is going to be the first snowfall of the season. It looks kind of overcasty. I don't know. It could just be how the light's hitting the camera. It's going to get chilly and it's going to get messy and wet depending on where you live. But I am told everyone in the tri-state is going to feel something. Depending on where you live, you might get a light dusting of snow or you might get rain. And then the temperatures are going to take a bit of a nosedive. And there is a lovely look as we all get ready for the holiday season. The Fox News Channel, that's the tree right there in the courtyard on 6th Avenue. And the commute looks pretty good tonight at 8 o'clock on December 1st as we get ready for so many things happening this month. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and that you're rested. And I should remind you, you have a few more hours to shop. It's Cyber Monday. We'll talk with a shopping expert also. But first, let's get right to our top story because there's so much interest in this case. Luigi Mangione accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, gunning him down. We're coming up on the year anniversary of that murder happening early in the morning as he had tried to attend a conference and walk into a hotel in Midtown. Thompson security cameras capturing that murder. Brian, I think, has some of those pictures of what Luigi Mangione is accused of. Well, he had a pretrial hearing today. There he is in the court looking considerably different than he looked when he was picked up in Altoona, Pennsylvania, accused of this murder. So much to talk about. Let me bring right now in Randy Zellin, a criminal defense lawyer and friend to Fox 5. Thanks, Randy, for joining me tonight.
Appreciate being on. Thank you.
So, Randy, I asked another attorney this last hour. I just can't get past it. How significant a win is it for the defense team that Luigi Mangione does not have to be dressed in his prison garb in the courtroom?
It's an interesting thought, and I measure my words only because right now, yes, on the one hand, you can make the argument that it doesn't mean anything because what's the difference as to what he's wearing? This is not the trial, so who cares? But everyone watching, whether it is through still photography, whether it is through people taking pictures, even through courtroom sketches, a potential juror is going to see him. And it is one thing to see someone in prison orange, prison green, prison tan, depending on the jurisdiction. And it's another thing to see someone in a sweater with a button-down shirt wearing khakis. Psychologically, one can't help but look at someone accused of a crime differently when they are in prison gear as opposed to looking like they're going to the yacht club.
Yeah, very interesting. And of course, I guess I bring that up because he has become a celebrity of sorts, considering what he's accused of. It's kind of shocking. But there were supporters outside the courthouse, and there have been supporters, and much has been made of his appearance, some describing him as handsome and all the rest of it. So that's why I bring that up. And I just wonder how that will impact a potential jury pool or the jury that's seated in this case.
Well, again, I will measure my words because I think that there is more than one way to skin the cat here. On the one hand, I would like to think that those people who are his supporters, who would like to marry him, who would like to carry his child, who view him as a hero, those people will not be in the jury panel. And if they get into the box to be questioned, they will never be selected as jurors because clearly they have shown a predisposition to already have decided whether or not he is guilty before they have heard a shred of evidence. So that is one side of me. Then there is the side of me that recognizes and appreciates that perhaps the only group that is hated more than lawyers are insurance people.
Yeah.
And that is why so few cases go to trial when an insurance company is involved, because the insurance companies recognize that jurors really don't like them. And it really is a race to the bottom as to who is more despised in the eyes of a jury, lawyers or insurance company people.
Got it. So I want to break down the case a little, Randy, with you, if you don't mind. Let's talk about what the defense wants to happen today. You're a defense lawyer. They're trying to get rid of some of key pieces of evidence, including the gun that prosecutors say is the murder weapon in this case, as well as what some are describing as a manifesto found in his knapsack. Why does the defense feel they are able to get these, or trying to get these key pieces of evidence dismissed? What are they arguing?
Well, there are a few ways that you argue this, and there are actually two reasons why you do these suppression hearings. One is because you like to win them. You'd like to suppress physical evidence like the gun, like the manifesto, and you would like to exclude any confession or something that sounds like an admission that Mr. Mangione may have made. So let's start there. And while a trial is a search for the truth, it is a search for the lawful truth. We have a constitution. That constitution is not optional. The Constitution provides rules. It provides guardrails. It recognizes that the state, as Justice Brandeis said, is potent and it is omnipotent. And therefore, we have rules that the state has to follow. The government cannot simply stop you on the street, open up your backpack, find incriminating evidence, and use that at trial. The government cannot threaten you to get you to admit that you did something wrong. That's why we have the Fourth Amendment, and we have the rule that starts out with anything that is obtained other than by a search warrant is supposed to be unreasonable. That is what the Fourth Amendment says, that all searches without a search warrant, meaning a judge, a neutral and detached magistrate, has said, yeah, it is more likely than not that you're going to find evidence of a crime. So yes, you can go look where you've told me you will find that incriminating evidence.
But wait, I have to interrupt you, Randy. At the time that this happened, that he was found at a McDonald's in Altoona, there was a nationwide search for a mad gunman who just murdered someone in the streets of New York City. So when they get a call, if I'm the local police, that there's a guy with the eyebrows that look like Mangione because he was wearing a mask, and they go to approach him, certainly it's a dangerous situation. Couldn't they argue they had to check his knapsack and make sure it wasn't going to blow up? Go ahead.
No, the Constitution does not permit that kind of a hunch. Because think about it, you could do that and roust people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and say, well, I had a hunch. Sorry, I was wrong, but look what I found. So no, if you don't have a warrant, that search is going to be per se unreasonable unless the government can find an exception. So, for example, a valid arrest. If you have a valid arrest, you can search someone. Cars and vehicles, because you can get away easily. There is an exception, and it's called the automobile exception. If something is in plain view, then again, you don't need a warrant. If you seize, for example, someone's vehicle and you take it back to the precinct, you are allowed to do what's called an inventory search to do exactly what it says, inventory the contents. And if you happen to find a gun in the glove compartment, well, the law says it is possible that that gun can be used as evidence. And of course, someone can consent to a search. So here, the defense is going to argue there was no search warrant, which we know, and there was no valid exception to searching the backpack. There was not a lawful arrest. It wasn't in plain view. He did not consent, and therefore, anything that was obtained from that backpack should be suppressed. Now you move on to his statements.
Yep.
And here, what we look for is voluntariness. And of course, we've all heard about the Miranda rule and the Miranda warnings. So here, the state has to show either that if Mr. Mangione was in custody, meaning he was not free to leave, and he was being asked questions, the answers to which could incriminate him, that's called interrogation. When you have custody and interrogation, then the state damn well better have a Miranda card that the officer read from and had the defendant sign it by his acknowledgement that his Miranda warnings were read to him and he agreed to waive them, and he did so knowingly and voluntarily before he made a statement. Here, the government will argue either, if there was no Miranda warnings given that Mr. Mangione either was not in custody, meaning he could leave, or he was not being interrogated and he volunteered these statements. He just blurted them out. So that is how we deal with the issue of the admission/confession that he made.
So what do you think is going to happen, especially as it relates to the gun?
Well, it's interesting because, as I recall, we have, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way because we all were rookies once. I was a rookie a long, long, long time ago.
Yep.
This police officer apparently was a rookie. So, in fact, did the police officer follow the playbook as far as having a valid basis to get into that backpack? Assuming he did not have a search warrant signed by a judge saying, you can search anything that is on Luigi Mangione, including his backpack. There has to be an exception. Was there a valid arrest having been made and then a search incident to that arrest where these items were recovered? Did Mr. Mangione consent to a search of his backpack? Had he abandoned the backpack, which would have entitled them to go through the backpack? So yes, a relatively perhaps inexperienced police officer may have made a mistake. But of course, there's the other reason why the defense will want these hearings. Yes, you want to win them, but even if you don't win them, you want the knowledge. The state has to put on witnesses, law enforcement witnesses. You will now have that police officer's testimony forever in stone. And if the police officer says something different at the trial, you now have impeachment material. So it's important to get the education and to create the possibility of impeachment material to be able to cross-examine that witness at the trial.
Randy, giving me a law class right here on our streaming show. I appreciate it since I didn't go to law school, which I know you know. I want to ask you what happens next. How soon will the judge make a decision on these rulings, or is that anyone's guess? I was just trying to give our viewers a little sense of the timeline. What happens next?
Well, what you will have is you will have the hearing continue until it's done. And in both instances, it really is incumbent upon the government. It is incumbent upon the state, the district attorney's office, to prove the legality of the search and seizure and to prove the legality of the confession. The testimony will wrap up. I doubt seriously that the defense will put on any kind of case. Don't count on Mr. Mangione taking the stand and giving his version as to what happened. So the evidence will end. The hearings will be over. I doubt very seriously, again, that the judge will issue a ruling from the bench. Either the judge will say, okay, I'm reserving decision, or the judge will say, I will take briefs, post-hearing briefs. And then after the briefs, the judge will make a decision. So it is really anybody's guess. I would not anticipate a decision coming down anytime soon.
Randy Zellin, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll visit us again soon as this trial progresses.
Anytime you'll have me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And keep it right here because I said another huge story is our weather and what you're going to be waking up to tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Nick Gregory joins us live next. He said yes. looks kind of overcast, a threat of snow. Kids, get a little closer to the computer because I have good news. Nick Gregory joining me now. Guess what, Nick?
This just in.
This just in. This is the
Breaking news.
best part of school day. Don't you remember being
Of
little
course.
and looking? Okay, so we just learned, our producer, 90-minute delay in New Jersey for Netcong Elementary. If you're one of those students. I'm wearing my glasses because if I get this wrong, you're going to be mad at me. New York, Haverstraw, Stony Point School District, a 2-hour delay. And also in New York, Liberty Central School District is closed. So,
okay, so you can see where those areas are the areas we were just talking about, right? A half hour ago, you know, in northwest New Jersey, moving into portions of the Hudson Valley.
Awesome.
And we're going to be seeing more of those, I'm sure. As
definitely, because why risk it? And it's an early in the season, and you don't want the school buses sliding all over the place.
Well, and this is a test for people, right? Because, you know, they forgot how to drive in snow from last year.
Yeah.
So it's always the first storm where everybody goes,
I know.
panic,
I know,
right? So
I know.
we'll see.
It's me on a regular basis, frankly. Take the subway instead. All right, Nick. So what do we got? What are we going to wake up to tomorrow?
Well, in the city, you're going to wake up to a combination of snow and rain. Which will eventually quickly become rain. So the result is going to be more snow to the north, where it won't change over to rain as quickly. So no snow for the city, a coating to the north and west, 1 to 3 northwest Jersey, now we're getting to the Netcong area, up into Haverstraw there, that's Rockland County, and up in towards northwest Connecticut. And then you get up towards Sullivan County, that's Monticello, up into the Catskills region. Now you're talking 3 to 5 inches of snow there. So it's going to be a windy day, but again, it's just rain. And initially a little snow in the city, but then it goes over to rain. At 43, windy particularly Wednesday morning, sunny at 41, still breezy about 40 on Thursday. Then it's cold. You get Friday, 20 in the morning, 33 in the afternoon.
No, too early. I'm staying in bed. I'm sleeping
right?
late on Friday. I'm just letting the boss know
and then kind of a chilly, dry weekend, and it gets really cold again on Monday. So winter's coming on fast. But we talked about that if you watched our Weather Extremes program. That
I would never miss it.
There you go.
Serious.
So we talked about how I talked about in our winter forecast how it was December was going to winter was going to come on strong, and I think that's going to be the case for the rest of the month. So be prepared.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying.
It's quiet out there now. There's not much wind out of the northeast.
It does seem like it's going to be pretty mild. We're all going to feel a little bit of the mess, but, you know, nothing too serious.
For winter, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, and when it ends, on average, it'll be a little milder than average, but it's going to really start out pretty cold through December. So winter storm warnings, by the way, Sullivan County up to Greene County. Again, that's the 3 to 5 inch snowfall amount area. And then the rest of those areas starting to have those school closings, Sharon, they're under winter weather advisories. This pretty much goes from
New Jersey too, right?
Yes, well, Netcong area, that's in our advisory here. Okay. That's going to go from about 4 or 5 in the morning till about 6, 7 to 10 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. Just to give you an idea how prolonged it might be. So.
Okay.
So
that's
right now,
always a problem when these systems like stall over an area.
Yeah, this one will keep moving. It's just cloudy now, and the snow is making on roads across the Ohio Valley. You're going to see here in the wide view in just a second that it has reached Ohio. You can almost see it on the edge of your screen there, but watch, you can see it there coming in. Yeah, we can go back to that.
Did we get an update
there
from
it is.
The National Weather Center?
Nothing new yet. You know, I'll have it by 10 o'clock. But,
good.
But again, there's the snow, reaching Cleveland now, Akron, Ohio. So that'll keep making its path towards us. Again, pre-dawn hours.
Okay.
So figure like
good to know.
4 in the morning or so, it'll start. Because the air right now is so dry that when the snow arrives, it'll evaporate initially, and then the atmosphere has to sort of get saturated to let that happen. So, but it's coming.
Well, it's the first snowfall of the season, Nick, and so I feel on this special occasion, maybe perhaps we should make a gentleman's bet on just
we're going to go down that path now, are we?
I feel strongly that perhaps we'll put a little money. I mean, we were talking a lot about the casinos and a lot about gambling.
All right.
Perhaps.
Not that I'm a gambling man, but.
Yeah, there we go.
I will say I do enjoy playing blackjack. Craps.
When are we going to get a significant snowfall in Central Park? Because that will be my real beginning of winter.
So now let's define significant.
Okay.
What do you define by significant?
Upping the stakes already.
Is that
changing
an inch?
The rules of the game.
Is that an inch of snow? Is that a couple of inches of snow?
I'm going to say a solid 5 inches.
Okay, so now we got to push that a little bit.
5 to 12.
The average for something like that to happen is usually mid-December.
Mid-December.
So today being the 1st, we got a couple of weeks.
All right.
So
you're going to pick a date?
I will say, gosh, that's a tough call. I will say December, 5 inches. You said?
Yes. You heard it here,
I'll
folks.
say
Write it
December
down.
18th. I'll just throw that date.
All right, we're saving the tape. You're saying December 18th. I'm going to say December 15th because I think it's going to get chilly quickly. But I don't have a meteorologist. I don't have a seal.
And watch,
There's no seal.
Watch, we're both going to be wrong. So.
Okay, all right.
Oh
yeah. I'm sorry. From the rafters here, Teresa Priolo. That's a better question. Are we going to have a white Christmas?
So we have.
Now let's put some real money on it.
Okay, so we'll put some odds on that first, right?
All
Because
right.
if you're going to gamble, you got to put the odds out there.
Yeah.
Right? So we have an 11% chance.
An 11%
of having a white Christmas in New York City,
All
just
right,
in case you're wondering,
I'm
right? So that's not, so it's not a very common thing, believe it or not. So we haven't had one in a while. So, and what's the definition of a white Christmas?
I don't know.
See,
Is that a sprinkling?
We must have an inch of snow on the ground on
1
Christmas
inch.
Day.
On Christmas Day. All right, because Santa has to get the sleigh, and he has to be able
right.
to get on the roof, and the chimney business can't
Exactly.
be on. Turn off your chimney at night. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, this is true too.
All right.
But you have to have 1 inch of snow on Christmas Day to qualify to be a white Christmas.
Nick Gregory, man of many
Any
talents.
other trivia you'd like to know, just don't ask.
Nope, that's about it. But you know that my mother calls you the most trusted meteorologist
well, you
in
know,
America.
we have to have a conversation with Mom.
Yeah,
So
I'm Mom. I'm hoping she's watching.
thank you, Mom.
All right, don't go anywhere. I'm not petering out. I'm just getting fired up. Teresa Priolo on deck in 2 minutes has a full report from Washington coming up. Keep it here. And Venezuela, I believe. Brian, we can wait. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. It's coming up on 8:30 this evening on December 1st. You're looking at a live picture right now of the White House, and let me explain why. We have developing news. President Trump will meeting tonight with his national security team to discuss strikes off Venezuela. Reports say the meeting is underway, and it comes as the U.S. Has increased pressure on Venezuela with strikes on drug vessels, alleged drug vessels, and a military asset buildup in the Caribbean. And under fire is the Defense Secretary, also known as the Secretary of War. To break it all down for us now, Teresa Priolo joining me as promised. Thank you very much. Are you going to go? You can go down? I could go down? It's either way. So this is a very complicated story. It really, over the weekend, blew up. I mean, both bipartisan Republican and Democratic lawmakers want answers. Nobody wants to see drugs come into the United States, but this is a very controversial tactic. They were blowing boats, alleged drug boats, out of the water. And in this case, 2 strikes happened in September, and the second strike was happened because there may or may not have been survivors. So that would be a war crime if it were true, but I'm going to let you take it away.
So let's, to your point, let's just set the stage. So the Trump administration has said that they are trying to attack the flow of drugs from Venezuela into the United States. Now, there's a whole conversation to be had about what those drugs look like. Are they contributing to the drug problem in the United States? It's mainly cocaine, which is not our huge problem. I mean, it's a problem, but it's not as big of a problem as, say, fentanyl, which comes from other countries. So that's one thing there. So they have been targeting these drug boats in the Caribbean Sea, international waters, right, not owned by the U.S. And they have said that they have been doing this as a response to stem the flow of drugs. Now, these have been going on since about September. We have known this. 80 people have died. Multiple strikes have occurred. What happened on September 2nd is what is being questioned this weekend and now today, because there was a strike ordered, and then allegedly Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, use whichever title you want, Pete Hegseth, apparently gave the order to, quote, kill everyone. They are saying that he not only ordered the initial strike, but he ordered a subsequent strike because he saw that there were survivors. Now, he calls them narco-terrorists. Should that have actually been the way that it happened, that would be, by most accounts, illegal.
Yes.
You are in international waters. That would be considered a war crime. These are unarmed combatants on a ship with no way to defend themselves. And so the question is, was it legal? Did he give the order? Was it legal? Was he targeting survivors?
And he had to talk in an emergency meeting, by all reports. Pete Hegseth met with Republicans and Democrats who wanted to know this Saturday and Sunday, right after Thanksgiving, what is going on here?
Yeah, because some would say that's an act of war.
Yeah.
We are not at war with Venezuela.
Right.
At least not openly. So what is the basis for this? What is your legal rationale for bombing a boat in waters that we do not own, that we do not control? So this has been asked of the Trump administration today. Caroline Leavitt talked about it, so here's her sound.
Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated.
To clarify, Admiral Bradley was the one who gave that order for a second strike.
And he was well within his authority to do so.
There you have it, right? Caroline Leavitt saying that the Admiral was well within his authority to execute a second strike on that boat, but stopped short of getting into details and discredited
because she said she wasn't in the meeting, so she doesn't know what happened, what was said. But there was a meeting in the Oval Office today that happened around 5 o'clock, closed press, so we don't have any pictures or video to show you of it. But at that meeting, allegedly, from what we're hearing from pool reports, was Secretary of Defense Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. And apparently they talked about this increased pressure that is now on the U.S. because of this double strike that occurred on September 2nd. And also they wanted to talk about the larger issue of positioning 15,000 troops in the Caribbean Sea to take out, to go with this military operation when we are facing a country that we are not at war with.
That's right.
So there's a lot of questions here. It seems as though it's a three-prong issue. Number one, what are we doing there? Is our ultimate goal here regime change and getting rid of Nicolas Maduro, the head of Venezuela? Is this really to stem the flow of drugs? And also, what is your legal rationale for why you are conducting the strikes that you're conducting, and have you now done it twice on the same boat?
Exactly. And also, Teresa, I've heard it said from supporters of this move that this is really sending a chill. It's one thing if you just let them get in and arrest people and detain them, but by dropping a bomb on a drug boat, you send a message to anybody who might be fearful about working for the cartels or doing this or getting, you're sending a strong message to anyone in the region who would consider doing this, because you're not just getting arrested and thrown in jail, you're dying.
Right.
And so I think that they're trying to, if you support this mission, they're trying to send this message to anyone who would be considering doing that. But you talked to the expert, David Birdsell.
I talked to David
because
look, we are not military experts. We are not experts in international law. But it seems as though this is such a big story with such wide-ranging implications here. We're also not attorneys, and there's a complexity to this story that you really need to kind of dig in. David Birdsell, who is not an attorney but is well versed in all things political, was talking to me. We're going to hear from him in just a minute. He was talking to me about why the Trump administration would want to embark on this journey, what they are looking to accomplish. Again, Trump has said repeatedly, no new wars, end of foreign wars, no regime change. And so what is
and
your
he's
end
struggling
goal?
in poll numbers because there are a lot of those who supported and voted for him want him to focus on domestic issues.
Right. So let's hear from David Birdsell, who we go into all these different topics with.
We really don't know what the Trump administration's goals are in Venezuela. They clearly want to remove Nicolas Maduro, allegedly because of his role as a drug kingpin. But we know that Venezuela is, in fact, not a primary source of supply for the most dangerous drugs coming into the United States, which would be fentanyl and methamphetamines. It is a significant source of supply for cocaine, but most of that product goes to Europe and to Africa rather than to North America. So it's a little bit unclear exactly what policies the administration is pursuing and what they'd like to achieve. There is an effort to enlist, or apparently an effort to enlist, relatively more conservative heads of state throughout the region in opposition to Maduro, and by extension, by the way, in opposition to Cuba, which seems to be back on the administration's mind. But in terms of a clear policy that would justify the massive buildup of military assets in the region, that would justify the positioning of 15,000 troops, or an evidence trail that would show that there is either a larger volume of drugs coming, or even more narrowly, that those drugs are on the boats that have been blown up, 80 people now killed in those actions in the Caribbean. And it's just not clear at all what the grounds for action are or the legal rationale that the administration says it plans to defend. The president has decried foreign involvement of various sorts all around the world. And this is an article of faith on the MAGA base, right? Please get us out of foreign wars, the forever wars that don't ever seem to find a way of resolving themselves, whether by force or by a negotiated settlement subsequently. And he said he wouldn't get us into those. But it does look very much like we're on the precipice of precisely that kind of action in Venezuela. Again, the administration has not said so, but they have not ruled it out. And Secretary Hegseth has said very clearly that we have just begun to kill narco terrorists, and that was a quote from him on Friday. So there does seem to be a strong drug link here. However, just over the weekend, in saying that he would pardon the convicted previous president of Honduras in order to bolster, whether it actually has this effect or not is very much open to question, but to bolster the prospects of the candidate of his party, who's right now by the narrowest of margins on top of the presidential preference polls going into the election next week. So there are lots of puzzlements here and no clear explanation at this stage from the White House.
And then that strike and follow-up strike. I mean, so we know there have been many strikes, obviously, but the September 2nd strike, in which apparently the order was given by Hegseth to the admiral, I believe Admiral General, to strike the boat. Then allegedly there was a follow-up order to kill everyone, quote unquote. What do you make of that? And if in fact that occurred, the way that it has been portrayed in the Washington Post and in other outlets, my understanding is that that would be considered a breach of international law or in conflict with international norms.
Absolutely. In fairness, Secretary Hegseth says that he did not issue that order. That will be something he'll have to attest to under oath, I'm sure, in a congressional investigation if he chooses to cooperate with that congressional investigation. But every single legal theorist I have seen opine on this action calls it blatantly illegal, and illegal on many fronts. First of all, these are non-combatants. Second, they are victims of a shipwreck, and the Uniform Military Code actually has a line specifically saying it is illegal to fire on victims of a shipwreck, survivors of a shipwreck. It is not at all clear that they were guilty of the crimes with which they are charged. And if, well, not charged in a court of law, but the administration charges them with being drug traffickers. But even if they are were drug traffickers, the penalty for drug trafficking in the United States is not death, it's imprisonment. So on multiple levels, whether you're talking about military code, whether you're talking about plain old civilian law, the government is not allowed on suspicion of criminal activity to kill people. That's not part of the legal arsenal that we can bring to bear on those we dislike.
All right, you were listening to Kean University provost, political analyst, and friend of Fox 5, David Birdsell, lay it out for us. Boy, you know, a war crime, that's what we're debating here, Teresa. Whether or not one occurred, we don't know. Nobody knows yet, but it is not going to be something that is taken lightly. The Trump administration really under scrutiny now.
So we know that Pete Hegseth was in the military.
Yep.
So my understanding is that he did not retire from it. He left the military. And I mentioned that only to say it was a point of conversation with David Birdsell, because there are different rules in which if you are accused of a crime that you can be court-martialed as a result of how you left the military. So that would be up to a military expert
and
to
the
explain.
admiral who executed the command could also be facing trouble.
And what I think is actually most interesting is any soldier who helped with this can also be court-martialed.
Right.
Now you would think to yourself, yes, those that also carried it out as well, because it was not just two people involved in this. There was clearly a number of soldiers. So whoever they are, you would think to yourself as a civilian, well, they're just listening to the superiors. But as Birdsell mentioned to me, and I think it's worth noting, a main tenet of military training is knowing what is right and what is wrong in war. What is right, what you can do and what you cannot do, what is legal and not legal. There are nuances and complexities of war, but there are certain things that are very black and white.
Yep.
And so they would know whether or not they were actually legally allowed to do this. And if they did not stand up and say, hey, we're not doing it, they potentially could be on the hook, which is very interesting in all of this. And we'll see how that plays out if the DOJ or the military decide to bring charges.
Very interesting. President Trump, you saw some video there. That was him talking on Air Force One last night as he returned to Washington.
And he's standing by Hegseth.
Yes.
At this point.
That's right. That's right. And that Oval Office meeting closed to the press, but Teresa's going to follow it for us and have an update tonight at 10 o'clock. We appreciate it right here on Fox 5 for the 10 o'clock news.
Good to see you.
I like hearing the music come up.
I know.
That's good.
That's a good sign.
All right, keep it right here. In 2 minutes, we have some lighter topics to get to. All things Christmas trees. Do you buy a real one or artificial one? What do you do? Yours is not up.
Mine's not up yet, but real, because I have to keep mine up through the Epiphany.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
we have to go the distance.
The dog doesn't bite the.
No, neither do the kids.
All right, neither do the kids. Okay. 2 minutes away. We'll be right back. welcome back to Newsroom Live. You're looking at a live picture tonight on 6th Avenue of the tree outside the Fox building. And I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't know if it's real. I'm assuming it's real. Looks real to me, but I don't know. I think so. Of course it's real. It's got to be real. You think it's artificial? Oh my gosh. All right. Hey, welcome back. It's 8:45 in the evening. You still have a couple of hours of shopping time left on Cyber Monday. And joining me now live, Mac Harmon with Balsam Hill out of Boise, Idaho, all the way from Idaho to the Fox 5 newsroom here on the Upper East Side to talk all things Christmas trees. And of course, your company, thumbs up to artificial trees, unlike our last guest, Teresa Priolo, who insists on a real one. So, you know, what are you going to do? So talk to us. Tell our viewers, what is Balsam Hill and why should they be getting on this Cyber Monday? And do you have a deal for them, an artificial Christmas tree?
We do. It's one of the biggest shopping days of the year for us as a predominantly online retailer. So we're watching our sales go up as the sale ends in a few hours. So there's quite a bit of activity at this late hour in the day. So you'll actually mail someone a tree? Or we actually ship them mostly through FedEx. That's right. Yep. And so Balsam Hill actually started the company 20 years ago because my brother-in-law has an allergy to the mold spores that are naturally on real trees. And there's nothing wrong with them, but if you bring them into a home that has forced air, like air conditioning heating, it kind of blows and circulates that mold, and so it sets off people with allergies. And the family I married into had this like really sad artificial tree. I was like, why can't we have better ones? And so that was the origin of Balsam Hill, having lifelike artificial trees. But we have the decorations and the tree skirts and the lights for farm-grown trees. So we're very happy if people are celebrating Christmas with the Christmas trees, whatever type they may choose. All right,
you don't discriminate. So I want to know, one of the reasons that people don't eat, sometimes they get a regular tree. Those are expensive too. They're all over the streets of New York City, of course, as you can see there, is that an artificial tree can be significantly more expensive, but you say lasts much, much longer, obviously, right?
I was just talking to someone here in New York today, and they said they've been buying their tree for $110. That's outside Manhattan. New York prices are much higher, but this was in New Jersey. This year the price went to $140. So prices for farm-grown trees are going up as well. The thing with an artificial tree is that they're used on average 7 years. And so if you're paying, say, $300 or $500, in our case maybe $800 for a really nice tree, that gets amortized over that time period, and so it ends up that it may be less expensive, plus the lights generally already come on the artificial tree, and so you don't have that separate investment as well as for the tree stand. But honestly, I think consumers should pick whichever tree they like the most.
Yes, well, I have to say I'm a bit partial to a real tree. I like the smell and all the rest of it. But it is messy, and you pointed out as you came up here to talk to me that you're not supposed to keep the real tree more than 4 weeks?
That is the thing I would recommend. It's not my advice. It's from Underwriters Laboratory, UL, which certifies the Christmas lights. To say don't put a tree in your house for more than 4 weeks because it can dry out and become a fire hazard. So
even if you keep watering the bottom?
Even if you keep watering it, because eventually the tree stops sucking the water up and down every day when it's light out during the day. So if you do want to have your tree up from now through New Year's or something, you want to have a tree that either change your tree in the middle, which your local tree stand will love, or we recommend an artificial tree in that case.
And why do you only keep the artificial tree 7 years? What happens to it? The lights stop working or something like that?
Well, that used to be the case. Now they're LEDs, so they kind of last a super long time. My friends had their tree for 19 years, and so people keep it longer. And actually, on average, at the end of the 7 years, people give it to another family member. So the trees actually stay in circulation much longer, but that's the national average right now.
And if you want to order your tree and you're watching this right now, you can go to your website and they'll ship it to you. Will it get there in time for Christmas or how long?
It absolutely will. To the New York market, it's generally 2 or 3 days. We ship out of New Jersey, and so balsamhill.com, and our Cyber Monday sales expire at midnight.
Well, you know what we do here in New York is we haggle. So if any street you walk down, you just see the trees lined up forever, and everywhere you go, you get a different quote of a different price for a different tree or a different wreath. So you have to be, and I always think, you know what, I'm going to wait until Christmas Eve and get a real tree, because what are they going to do with the trees the next day?
They become very cheap on Boxing Day.
Like going to see something, you wait for the show to start, and then you buy your ticket, right? I don't know. Because after that, after Christmas, although, as Teresa said, she keeps the tree till the Epiphany. Some people use it through New Year's Eve, so I don't know.
If you celebrate Orthodox Christmas, it's later, so it's you get a great deal.
Right, and that's more than 4 weeks. So I'm very concerned. I keep asking about that because I just put up a tree in a family member's house, and I'm a little concerned that Christmas is about 4 weeks away, and I don't think we're going to be taking it down right away. So
keep it well watered.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us
My
tonight
pleasure.
on our streaming show. And for all things trees, real or artificial, you can go to our website or go to the Fox Local app or go to the Fox 5 NY YouTube channel. And we're going to be right back in 2 minutes with much more ahead as we slide into 9 o'clock. Thanks so much for joining us.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Are you going back to Idaho?
Heading back later this week.
All right, good. Well, hopefully the weather will hold for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll be back in 2. And welcome back. 8:51 on December 1st. You're looking at a live picture right now of Manhattan this evening. A beautiful night. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Crowley, reporting to you from the Fox 5 newsroom on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. We've had a busy news night. If you're wondering, what should I do this holiday season? There's so much. It's gridlock alert right now, as you know. If you try to get to see the tree lighting and the windows at Saks and all over the place, botanical gardens, you name it. It's great and worth looking at, or the Rockettes. However, it's kind of tough to get around sometimes depending on what time and when you go. But Bianca Peters, on the Noon today, interviewed a woman who has all the secrets of what to see when and how to get in and out and see the best things. Take a listen.
Without losing your sanity, this next guest has you covered with more than 1 million followers. Mickey Blank, better known as Mick NYC, has become the city's go-to insider for what's hot, what's hidden, and what is worth braving the cold for. She's joining us now with her NYC survival guide, where to go, when to go, and how to do it like a real New Yorker. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We are big fans of you. Fox 5 is big fans of you because we follow you on social media.
Don't make me cry. I'm very...
No, I'm saying you have been doing this for a while. You're at every single event. You're capturing the biggest celebs. And behind this, I found out you're a doctor before you switched careers.
Yes, I have a PhD in biology.
So we're calling you Dr. Mick.
Dr. Mick.
We love it. Okay, so now you're in this world of all things New York City and all celeb, everything that's happening in the city. What is the guide for staying sane throughout this kind of time of year? It's packed full of people. There's so much going on. How do you get around?
Leave your stroller at home.
That's a good point.
That's like, I think the stroller, people find out, oh my God, I'm stuck in the crowd. I cannot go anywhere. But there are some ways to get away from the crowd. We have a lot of VIP experiences in town. We'll get you away and like exclusive shots. Or early mornings, late night, everything that is not the weekend, will get you there safely.
I like that. Okay, so maybe for people who don't know you, if they don't follow you on social media, what would you say your job actually is nowadays?
So every day I look at the list of events in town and I choose what I think is the coolest and most relevant to my community to share the news of. That's how I do it.
And some of your videos get millions of views with some of these people that you're photographing or events that you're taking pictures of, right?
I was the most influential voice for New York Fashion Week.
That is wild.
Yes, it is wild because I'm not a celebrity and actually the brands are bringing their own celebrities to share.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing it on my own.
Okay, so let's talk some strategy though. Everyone wants that perfect holiday photo, especially if they're coming, visiting from out of town. There's quite a few places to go take the pictures at, but what would be like your top 1, top 2 places?
Well, Rockefeller is the top one, but it's hard, it's crowded. The hotels have a lot of beautiful trees. Like if you go behind the St. Patrick Cathedral, you have the Lotte Palace.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the courtyard is open, you can get a gorgeous photo with the tree, and it's much less crowded than the Rockefeller one.
Best times to do that?
Weekdays, early morning, or
So you got to get up early for this one.
Yeah. I'm not sure. They're not open all the time, so you need to be lucky to have it open. Also, the plaza have beautiful decorations, but they're unfortunately already closed for the public.
Wow.
Yes, they do it early. The Peninsula, last time I checked, is still open. It's also gorgeous, but as they get more crowd,
Well, if you were wondering,
New York Fashion Week.
That is wild.
Yes, it is wild because I'm not a celebrity and actually the brands are bringing their own celebrities to share.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing it on my own.
Okay, so let's talk some strategy though. Everyone wants that perfect holiday photo, especially if they're coming, visiting from out of town. There's quite a few places to go take the pictures at, but what would be like your top 1, top 2 places?
Well, Rockefeller is the top one, but it's hard, it's crowded. The hotels have a lot of beautiful trees. Like if you go behind the St. Patrick Cathedral, you have the Lotte Palace.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the courtyard is open, you can get a gorgeous photo with the tree, and it's much less crowded than the Rockefeller one.
Best times to do that?
Weekdays, early morning, or
So you got to get up early for this one.
Yeah. I'm not sure. They're not open all the time, so you need to be lucky to have it open. Also, the plaza have beautiful decorations, but they're unfortunately already closed for the public.
Wow.
Yes, they do it early. The Peninsula, last time I checked, is still open. It's also gorgeous, but as they get more crowd, they tend to close it as well.
Yeah.
So weekdays, mornings, usually you'll have a higher chance of getting a good photo with the trees. And Rockefeller, go early. You might get a shot.
I love that. Okay, so you have been taking pictures of some very big name celebs all throughout the city.
All of them.
What's the biggest one that you've seen so far this holiday season?
The biggest? Oh, the K-pop Demon Hunters.
The K-pop, that's right.
Yeah.
And you were right up there close and taking pictures
because I'm collaborating with Macy's, so I've been covering the rehearsal. So we were out there in the rain, and they were golden.
I love that, and I love that song too. Okay, so for people that may not have that exclusive access you have, maybe there's one spot that they can go to possibly see some celeb sightings.
Oh, of course. If you go to Rockefeller, the Today Show in the morning, you can go in. Sometimes they bring celebrities outside for the crowd to meet. If you go around the plaza, there's a high chance of seeing somebody famous, but you have to have a good eye to spot them.
Which is what you do. Is there any tips on how we can get a good eye then, and how to take photos of them like you?
Well, usually I don't do like their private life, but if you're honest and genuine about, it's your celebrity, I'm sure they will stop to give you a photo. Yeah.
Okay, well, you have plenty of followers on Instagram, but where can people find your Instagram handle to follow you and see all the crazy stuff you're posting?
Oh, I am everywhere. I'm like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I'm everywhere. The same handle, McNyC. Find me everywhere.
If you're not following her, what are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you being here, certainly.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Bianca. Thanks, Mick NYC. Thank you. A live look now at New York City. That was Bianca Peters on the news interviewing Mick NYC. We had a few technical problems, but we're rolling through it. It's all good. I think it's time to look back at the White House one more time, another live picture, because the First Lady decorated the White House, and I think it's time to take another look inside. Why not, right? This is the theme this year. The theme this year is all about America's 250th celebration for 250 years, the birthday celebration, and the First Lady going very traditional this year. Not always the case. Sometimes she has a different, more contemporary look. I remember that first year, but this year she's bringing tradition back. It's all about the American family. There are eagles and toppers on some of the trees. They're gold American eagles on some of the trees. Beautiful, and it just gives you an opportunity to look inside the White House again. Really spectacular. There are volunteers from all over the country, and there's the gingerbread house. That's a replica of the White House made of gingerbread, which is super cool too. All kinds of fun at the White House as they get ready for the holiday season. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great night. And as I said, 3 more hours if you're celebrating Cyber Monday. And get ready for snow.
Thanks for watching Fox 5's Newsroom Live. We're now joining Live Now's non-stop stream of live and breaking news.
Things that we confront now, which are to some extent, some of the issues are settled. Like the issue of price controls is no longer, we understand now that the central bank is responsible for price stability. So that issue is settled. That doesn't mean it's easy to do, but the issue is settled. So this is new issue.
So easy. You make it look so easy, Jim.
Yeah, well, that's the trick.
Yeah.
No, but so things like nuclear disarmament, we were talking more, we were probably closer to that 20 years ago than we are now. So these issues don't go away and new issues arise, and I call for very much, I think the way George Shultz approached public policy and engagement are exactly what we need now.
Yeah. I think George would be excited by this moment, understanding that it was a challenging moment, but he always saw opportunity. Ultimately he was an optimist. He believed things could be solved if you kept at the core the principles on which the United States was founded. You know, there's a story that when George would swear in as Secretary of State ambassadors, he